Cole and a few of his fellow theology students were visiting Westport as part of a summer fellowship, and I met them at Coastal Community Church, where we agreed to connect at a later date for a Zoom interview. Cole took our talk as an opportunity to try out some of the Christian apologetics he's learned, but I wanted to connect with his personal reasons for belief. I was moved by Cole's willingness to be vulnerable about a crucial moment in his life and its place in his belief structure. I hope to connect with Cole again at a later date to continue the conversation. My name is Nick, and this is Conversations on the Coast. Howdy, Cole.
Hello.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you as well.
How was your weekend?
It was really good. Went to a wedding reception and
Nice.
my church was having a uh big event in the park. So that was super fun.
Oh, cool. Who got married?
One of my good friends growing up.
Nice. Yeah, you're getting to that point where your friends start to get married. Is that a
Yeah, it's so weird. All of my friends are now getting married. I have two more who are planning on getting married soon, or proposing soon anyways.
wow? That's quite a milestone. Was this one today or this weekend? Was that the first?
No. Oh. I've been to I don't know how many weddings now.
Wow.
Probably
So
four.
yeah, kind of
But
crazy,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, wild. Everyone's getting married now. Feel like I have to be in a rush to get married too, but I forget I'm only 22.
Yeah. No, you don't want to be in too much of a rush.
Yeah.
It comes at the right time, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
Lord willing.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so I was going to ask if you're 22. So have you graduated, or are you still in you still
No,
working?
this will be my last year of college and then I'm done.
Oh, cool.
Or I guess I'll have like a term left after this year
Yeah.
because I still have to take like some of the courses that don't pertain to my degree at all, like the art, whatever
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah, I have a 23-year-old, and they just went off to start their fifth year, and hopefully they'll be able
That's awesome.
to finish up their degree this year. But it's everybody kind of goes at their own pace. So
Yeah,
we definitely do. What are you? What's your major?
I'm doing software engineering.
Oh, nice. Well, that's the field I'm in. So that's
That's awesome.
yeah. What attracted you to software engineering?
So I actually wanted to do mechanical engineering my whole life. And
Okay.
then at some point in high school, my it was like sophomore year of high school, either that or junior year, I forget which one.
Hmm.
But my math teacher, he goes, "We used to offer a class for this, but today, because we don't offer it anymore, today I'm just going to show you guys how to program your calculator.
Okay.
And if you guys are able to like program it to help you with the equations and stuff, you can use it on the tests and everything because it shows that you know how to do the equations." So I thought it was the coolest thing ever and ended up programming a choose your own adventure story on my calculator.
Nice.
And then during my honors biology class, uh, we were told by the teacher that we were allowed to use our calculators on the final. So I
Uh,
ended up programming all of the answers into my calculator.
there you go. That's good, and that's what I've always said is, I became a developer because I was lazy, right? I wanted to code my way out of problems. So, and you're showing the same inclination. It's like you see a need, and then you use your ingenuity to get through the need. So that's a very valuable thing.
Yeah, it's definitely very fun.
Excellent. Yeah, that's good. Cool. Yeah, so let's figure out what we want to talk about. I think I described what I've been doing to you when we met at Coastal Community Church. But let me kind of give you the overview again.
Sounds good.
So what I do is called street epistemology. And I don't know how much you know about what epistemology is, but it's the study of knowledge. It's how do we know what we know?
Yeah.
And it has to do with the methods that we use to figure out what's true. And so what I talk to people about is something that they believe, and usually it's most interesting if it's something that you think other people should also believe. And then we look at not so much the belief itself, but we look at the foundations of that belief. So what are the main reasons that you use to support that belief, and then are the methods that you use to support those reasons good methods? And so sometimes people figure out, hey, I don't really have a good foundation for my belief. Or sometimes people find out a better foundation, like just by thinking about it. Or sometimes people, go down and they say, yeah, this all checks out. Most people find it, super interesting and fun. So what's something that you believe that you think other people should believe?
You there?
I'm there. I'm here.
I can hear you. Okay.
Oh, okay. Is it?
Sorry, you were cutting out for a second.
It seems maybe there's some instability in my internet connection. I'm going to turn off my video just so it gives us a little better.
Okay.
Better throughput. Yeah.
Sounds good.
So what would you like to talk about?
I'm good with talking about whatever. I know I've gotten super into apologetics. I really like,
Okay.
I don't know why, but I feel like that's something God's definitely drawn me towards is the reason the reason I got into apologetics is because I really wanted to understand why I believed in what I believed, because
Okay.
I knew what I believed, but I had no clue why.
Mm-hmm.
And then people would argue or give me reasons why I shouldn't believe that. And I go, that doesn't sound correct, but I don't have anything to argue against that. So I just got super, super into apologetics. Uh,
Yeah. So I'm like, so when you say apologetics, and what is the belief that you're supporting with the apologetics? Can we get it down to like a simple statement? Is it just like God exists, or is it
yeah, pretty
something?
much.
Okay.
It would be God exists, or specifically the Protestant or Christian God exists.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So and tell me about the apologetics. Are the apologetics the reason that you believe?
No. So the
Okay.
reason I believe is because, well, there's many reasons, but my own personal life experience and seeing
Sure.
everything that goes around has led me to my belief in God, but also
Yeah.
just all the great, many, many, many reasons for just the many logical reasons. If there wasn't any historical evidence either,
Yeah.
it would make it a lot harder for me to believe. If there wasn't logical evidence, it would make it a lot harder for me to believe. If it was all based on feeling, I don't think I would be a Christian.
Mm-hmm. So let's figure out what your main reason is. What's the main thing that convinces you?
I don't know. I don't really have a main reason. It's a
Okay.
culmination of everything. Uh, I would say one of the big reasons is my testimony. So when I was in high school, I'll quickly sum it up.
Yeah.
But when I was in high school, I got super depressed. Uh, didn't have anything like left to live for in the world. So
Mm.
I attempted suicide and I was cutting my wrists. And then,
Really sorry to hear that.
uh, well, God used it in great ways. So,
Uh, okay.
but he, so I was cutting my wrists and then I heard a voice. There was nobody home. I knew that there was nobody in the house. It was
Mhm.
just me.
Yeah.
And I was cutting my wrists and then I hear a voice say, "Stop." And I grew up in a Christian household and I knew that was God or one of his angels at the very least. And I look up and I go, why? Why should I suffer when there's nothing left for me to live for? So why should I continue to suffer? Nobody really cares about me. Why? There's nothing left for me to live for. And uh the voice responded with, I have more for you in this life than this.
Mhm.
And told me to drop the knife, and I did. And I started weeping on the floor uncontrollably. And that's when my whole life turned around, I would say.
Mhm.
It took a long time to get out of the depression, but I no longer wanted to kill myself. And God, I would say, God, I did die that day, but now I'm alive for God.
Mhm. Wow, that sounds like a really powerful experience. That must have been very, very emotionally impactful.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, what led you to believe that the voice and this experience was due to the God?
Well, like I said, I grew up in a Christian household,
Hmm.
and I would say I I did have a relationship with God at that point. I
Hmm.
prayed and I would talk to I would pray and go to church and everything. I did not have I believed he existed because of like if you just look around, their world is so beautiful. It's hard not to believe that there
Hmm.
wasn't a creator.
Okay.
So as a kid, I knew that God did exist.
Hmm.
So it it kind of just clicked and made sense.
Okay. So, if you grow up in a religion and you are taught that about a specific God, um, and you feel like you have a relationship with that God, why is that a good reason to believe that if you hear a voice, that voice is God?
It's not a good reason.
Okay, so what um, so is that really the real reason that you believed that at that moment?
Well, like I said, I knew God existed, the Christian God existed.
Hmm.
And there's a myriad of reasons for why this is true. So I can know for sure that it was God, or at the very least, one of his angels.
Hmm. Okay, but growing up in the religion is not that's not really the reason. So, for example,
No,
do you believe in Allah, the God of Islam?
no,
Okay, so if somebody, say about your age, in a Muslim majority country, was very, very depressed, wanted to end their own life, were trying to do that, and they heard a voice that said, "Stop, I have a better plan for you." Would they be justified in believing that that was Allah that was telling them that?
I would say that it could be God who was telling them that because there has been many instances.
Hmm.
It's happened so many times now. Sorry, I should be specific, but people in Islam, there's a lot of people now who have been getting dreams about a man in a white robe.
Hmm.
And it's happened so many times now that people, former uh, people who used to be in Islam but are Christian converts, they'll stand out in front of mosques and say,
Mhm.
holding a sign saying, "If you saw the man in the white robe, come talk to me." So
Yeah,
I believe that God reaches out to the people who are very zealous for him. Like if you look in the
but
Bible, Paul was very zealous
well,
for
hold on a sec, because I want to stick with the example. So
yeah.
if you know the Muslim version of Cole tells me I had this powerful experience of God, and I've had this relationship with Allah, and so I knew that this was Allah talking to me, and now this shows to me that Allah is real. And you tell me that you had this experience, and this told you that Jehovah, the God of Abraham, was real. How can
Now,
I?
I I
Sorry.
didn't say though that it was the reason for why I believed. I said it
Okay.
was one of the reasons.
Okay.
So there's so
But let's take.
if I didn't have that, then I would still believe in the Christian God, even if I didn't have that as part
Okay.
of why I believed. There's a great many reasons for why I do believe, but that's one of the reasons, one of
Okay.
the bigger ones.
So let's yeah. So if that's one of the bigger reasons, let's start there. How can I, as an outside, kind of a disinterested outside observer, I'm talking with this Muslim and I'm talking with you, and you both tell me the same experience. How can I, as a disinterested observer, tell which of you, if either of you is correct? Well, first of all, could you both be correct?
No.
Okay.
Or so I would say that it really depends because it could be God actually speaking to them and trying to get them to believe in Jesus, or it could be, I would say, a demon. But
Oh,
I would say
so there's
so.
another option here as well. So let's say you both
But
hear
if you
that.
want to fit,
Yeah. No,
I
go
would
ahead. Sorry.
say if you're uh personally, I wouldn't bring up testimony. So
Hmm.
I wouldn't bring up testimony to convert somebody who's already in a religion because
Hmm.
that they'll believe that they've heard stuff too. So just like what you were saying.
Okay. Okay.
So
So
I
let's set that reason aside. So
yeah.
what's your next biggest reason for? Oh, and sorry, I just want to go back, and I neglected to do this at first, but I usually like to talk about a confidence scale. So on a scale of 0 to 100, where 100 is, absolutely no doubt and zero is all doubt, where is your confidence that the God exists?
I would say 99.99%.
Okay. So
Because
very confident. Yeah.
there's always that little chance that of course it could be wrong, but
Hmm.
I would say I'm very, very confident.
Okay. Cool. So so the testimony, it seems like, in terms of epistemology, like showing that something is true. It sounds like,
So
maybe that's not a strong reason. So let's set that aside.
well, testimony works
Yeah.
more for testimony works more for people who aren't already religious. Uh,
Okay.
it works more for atheists, kind of sometimes. It depends on the atheist, but it can help with that because you can't really argue against somebody's personal experience.
Well, absolutely. Like, again, as a disinterested observer, I absolutely 100% know that you had this powerful experience. And I fully am with you. That stopped you from doing harm to yourself, which, we should be very thankful for. So maybe if we look at it from a different perspective, what what uh, what are the candidate explanations that you considered for what that experience was about? What caused that experience? And why did you decide that the best explanation was God was speaking to you?
So, why did I say that the best reason for it to be was God?
Yeah, the best if the best explanation. So, for example, could it be possible that somebody was in that situation and they heard stop in their head, and it was something else happening?
It was like a personal voice or something.
Yeah, for example.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So,
Except every part of my being just wanted to die and be done with the pain.
yeah,
I don't believe that there was any part of me that wanted to continue living.
yeah. So something said that stop. Um,
So I
so,
knew it wasn't myself. I knew it wasn't anybody in the house watching me
yeah.
because I made sure everybody was gone.
Mhm.
Uh, couldn't have been the wind. My window is closed.
Yeah. Is it possible that somebody could be in complete despair, completely wanted to end their own life, and yet still have a part of themselves that knew better?
Sure.
Right. So how could we tell? How could we test or otherwise know for certain that this was God speaking to you as opposed to just a part of your psyche that knew better?
So how could we know for sure?
Yeah.
Well, you can't really know anything for sure.
Mhm.
Like you could be a figment of my imagination. There's nothing we could know for sure. Like the whole world as we know it could just be my mind making all of this right now.
Sure.
You
And
can't really
actually,
know anything for sure. That's what
yeah.
you you have faith you have faith that everything around you exists and that it's not just your mind playing tricks on you.
I, I would
So,
I would put it a little bit differently. I would say that for purposes of pragmatism, for you and I to have a conversation, we have to agree that we share a reality, and that
yes.
doesn't change even if I'm just a voice in your head, or even if we're a brain in a vat or a simulation. We still need to agree that we share a reality, right? And um, so there is something that we can point to, and we can say this is real, this is true, because of that.
How do we know it's real or true though?
Well, we have to agree by matter of logistics. Like the fact that we're having a conversation tells us that we share a reality. It doesn't really matter what that reality is, right? So that's where I stand
Well,
on
it
the.
it does kind of matter what the reality is because if we are a brain in the vat, who's to say it wasn't the scientists whispering electrons into the brain into my brain saying
Yeah,
to not do that.
yeah, exactly. So
So,
so how are you able to rule that out along with the other options, and say, like, what was it that made you think this is God and not one of those other options? How do we how
well,
do we evaluate those choices?
well, the other choices just didn't make any sense logically.
Hmm. Tell me more about that, about the logic.
So logically, I can know that God exists. There's, like I said, there's a great many reasons
Okay.
for why God exists.
Okay.
There's
So it
tons
sounds
of
like
historical evidence, like
yeah, so it sounds
Jesus.
sorry. So it sounds
Go
like
ahead.
just going back to that experience. It sounds like um, the that experience is not what convinces you that God exists, but something else. So is it the logical
Well, like
reason?
I said, it's part of it, but
Uh-huh.
uh,
Okay.
I'd say
But
it's more so. I
yeah,
guess
if
it would be more historical evidence for Jesus and who he was, and also
hmm,
the uh what else? There's a lot of stuff.
okay.
If the
So if
logical reasons for why there is a God, like if you look around, there had to be a creator of this universe. Uh,
So
because
walk me through that reasoning.
why there had to be a creator?
Yeah, why do you believe there had to be a creator of this universe?
Well, there's the fine-tuning argument. So there's a bunch of numbers, there's a bunch of set numbers in the universe that if any of them were off by like a billionth, then there would be no life in the universe as we know it. There would be nothing. Uh,
So,
like if we were, go ahead.
yeah, it is it possible that we exist in the universe because those numbers happen to be the way they are?
Well, you could argue that a sheet of cookies just happened to be just happened to be there as well. Like
So,
somehow an earthquake happened and there were some eggs that shook into a bowl, and then same with the chocolate and the flour and the perfect mixture, and then somehow the earth superheated and sorted them out onto the cookie sheet. And
so when maybe that's a good example to look at. When you look at a plate of cookies, how do you know that those cookies were created?
because you can't just make cookies by chance. It's like
Well,
if you go out into the woods and there's a house, you don't go, "Oh, what a
yeah. So
funny,
let's stick with
what a
the
funny random
let's stick
chance
with
that
the
happened."
yeah. Let's stick with the cookie example, just rather than jumping around.
Yeah.
How do you know that cookies can't that the cookies didn't happen by chance?
Well, because it takes a creative mind to do something like that.
Hmm. Let me
Uh,
sorry. Let me pause you there. Um, if you see a plate of cookies, they're warm, they're on the counter. Um, how do you know that those cookies didn't occur by chance?
because you see, let's see, you know that it didn't happen by chance because, like, if you look around in nature, there's you don't see cookies just being made in nature. You have to get a very specific amount of stuff. You have to get it has to be very specific in order for it, and a bunch of specific steps had to be done in order to get that plate of cookies on the table.
Mm-hmm. But what do you know that tells you how those cookies came to be there? What what do you know about that plate of cookies?
I know that plate of cookies had to be there because you've only ever seen people make cookies. They've never created themselves.
Ah, you have seen people make cookies. That seems important. So are you saying that you have seen the process of the cookie being created?
No, but I could say
Have it.
I've never seen a skyscraper being built, but I know that they were built by people.
Sorry, Cole. I just want to let's stick with the cookies. I think the cookies is a good example here. Um, you haven't seen cookies be made?
No, I have,
Okay.
but you can't just take a you can't really just take a argue you can't just take an example like that and drill down into the finer details and expect every finer detail to be exactly what it's like. It's just supposed to be an example, not an
Mhm.
exact explanation of what it's supposed to be. Uh it's like the explanations for the Trinity. You can't say that. So you can say that the Trinity is like a three-leaf clover, but and it has a stem connecting it. But as soon as you take away one, well, now it's only a two-leaf clover, and not it's not a whole clover. But that's not how the Trinity works. You can say the uh, Trinity is like a bunch of other things, but none of them perfectly capture how it is. Once you start digging into the finer details, none of them explain completely how it works. You
Okay.
could say like
So we,
It's like water. God is ice. The Holy Spirit is the steam, and it's like solid, liquid, and gas. But God doesn't transform into the Son. The Son doesn't
okay.
transform into the Spirit, and the Spirit doesn't transform into
Well,
the Father.
sorry,
That
but before we jump to the Trinity, and I understand you're talking about how analogies are imperfect.
yeah.
The reason we went to cookies was I asked, how do you know the universe is created? So if cookies are the cookie analogy isn't apt, how do you know the universe is created? And I'll have to say
Uh,
we have about 10 minutes left because my free version of Zoom is going to time out.
you're good. Explain to me how cookies could happen by chance.
I'm sorry. I'm asking how, like, if the cookie analogy isn't isn't accurate, an accurate representation of how you know the universe was
So if you're
created.
saying I only know because I've seen it, I explain how the cookies would happen by random chance.
I'm sorry. You believe the universe was created because I'm not understanding the.
So everything is so finely tuned, it doesn't seem like it could have just happened randomly. It doesn't make any sense for it to just happen randomly. Like you could say it did happen randomly. Like the cookies on the table happened randomly. And
Mhm.
I'm sure if like an infinite amount of universes existed, there could have been a plate of cookies made randomly. But that just
Okay.
doesn't make any sense. Like
Yeah.
if you go out into the woods and there's a log cabin,
Mhm.
you don't expect that it was just there randomly. You expect that somebody had to have made that. And when you look at how finely tuned the universe is,
Mhm.
it just makes sense that somebody had to finely tune everything to make it as beautiful as it is right now.
Okay. Why is the presence of something that's finely tuned a good reason to believe that a conscious agent created it?
It's I would say it's one of uh well, if it was what an unconscious agent, it are wait, sorry. I got to get my thoughts in a row.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm just trying to probe, like, where what your belief is founded on um, in terms of your epistemology. So
Well,
let's
like
look
I
at it
said,
this
it's
way.
founded on a bunch of things.
Is there anything? Well, like, okay, so let's address that then. If you have a bunch of reasons and none of them is um, and none of them by themselves hold up to scrutiny, does the
I
fact
would
that you
say
have
that they do by themselves hold up to scrutiny. I am
hang
not a
on
great apologist. I'm still
hang on Cole,
in my very early
yeah,
stages.
let me get, so I'm again, we're not talking about the belief, I'm talking about your thought process. So if you have a number of reasons, let's say hypothetically you have a number of reasons for believing why the cookies are there, and none of your reasons by themselves support fully that the cookies are there. Is it a good reason to believe that a large number of these examples together support the fact that the cookies are there?
So let's say, uh, so the reason we know that we're in a physical world right now is that we're having a conversation. That alone does not, that alone does not support that we're not in a simulation.
Sorry, I was trying to use the cookie analogy again.
Yeah, I know. And
Let's
I was saying that it doesn't. like if you can't just hold to one thing, most of most of the things you have to have some other pieces as well. Like like I said, we we can't know that we're not in a simulation based just on the evidence we're having a conversation right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my point was it doesn't matter whether we're in a simulation because we're able to have a conversation. But uh, so just to get back to this, if you have several pieces of evidence, none of which individually support a proposition, why is it a good reason to believe that several such pieces of evidence do support the proposition?
I would say individually that they do support it, maybe not the testimony, but
Cole,
I would say,
sorry, go with me here. If you don't, I'm asking you to engage
oh,
in a
if you
hypothetical.
don't.
If you have
Okay.
several pieces of evidence, none of which individually support a proposition, is it a good reason to believe that the several pieces of evidence together support the proposition?
I would have to think carefully about how I answer that
Why do you need to think carefully?
because let's see.
Maybe another question that would be helpful. Is there any other thing in your life that you need to rely on multiple lines of evidence that the don't clearly show the result? Maybe a good thing to think about is do you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend?
No, I
Okay.
would say a good example would be like my parents' love for me.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
exactly where I was going to go. I was going to say, does your girlfriend love you? Yeah, your parents love for you. So do you feel that the evidence that you have that your parents love you is sound evidence?
I would say so. Because I have multiple sources of evidence.
Right.
If one of those, if we were just to use one of those sources, then you could say and shoot down all of them individually. You could say that my parents don't in fact love me.
Yes.
But
Yes. So if the individual lines of evidence don't add up, then you could come to the conclusion your parents don't love you, and maybe that's true. But if we look at an example, let's say, for example, your mother bakes you cookies.
sure,
Is that good reason to believe that your mother loves you?
I would say it's a reason.
Yeah, I would say it is a good reason. It's pretty direct. You know your mother exists. You know your mother. You talk to your mother regularly. You can touch your
Yeah,
mother. You know that your mother bakes. You've seen your mother making cookies. Your mother told you that she made the cookies for you. You don't know of any other reason why your mother would have made those cookies. And then when you eat the cookies, then you can experience your mother's love. Right?
sure. Yeah,
Anyway, we are down to a minute and a half. Unfortunately, the darn free version of Zoom does constrain us, which means we've probably
yeah, I understand.
we've been talking for about 30 minutes. Um, anyway, Cole, I've really enjoyed this, and maybe if you like, if you want to go back and kind of think about the things that we talked about, think about like your mental processes and how they support your belief, and then maybe we could come back and have a future chat.
Sure. Like I said, I'm not a great apologist, though.
Yeah, but this is not about apologetics and talking about the existence of God. It's really about exploring your thought processes and your epistemology and how you determine what's true. Um, But I will bid you farewell for now. And yeah, let's talk again.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Cole. Have a great day.
You as well.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. You've been listening to Conversations on the Coast, a series from Washington State featuring civil conversations using street epistemology to explore what people believe and why. Find out more at streetepistemology.com.